Eugene Jackson Jr., who was shot and killed last week by an Austin police officer, has now hired an attorney. Jackson was shot after police say he ran from a bank and then later struggled with a detective under the Shoal Creek Bridge.
Detective Kleiner goes outside to speak with Mr. Jackson, and after 2 to 3 minutes, Mr. Jackson flees on foot. Detective Kleiner pursues Mr. Jackson on foot, and at one point during the foot pursuit, he stops a motorist and employs their aid to catch up to Mr. Jackson. Regardless of the reason for the foot pursuit, the response to resistance will be investigated for compliance with state law and departmental policy. Detective Kleiner ends up in a struggle with Mr. Jackson under the bridge over Shoal Creek. During the struggle, Detective Kleiner's weapon discharges one time, fatally striking Mr. Jackson in the back of the neck. Part of the ongoing investigation will focus on whether his weapon discharged intentionally or accidentally.
And that's exactly what a lot of people want to know as well. Adam Lowy will be working with the family. He joins us now to talk about the case. Now, you heard Assistant Chief Manley. The investigation is ongoing, so what do you think?
Well, I think this is a very suspicious shooting. When these shootings occur, you can really learn a lot about what happened by reading the tea leaves when it comes to the initial APD statements. In every other high-profile shooting, the police department immediately says that the officer was in danger for his life. They're not saying that here. They are saying that there was a struggle and then the gun discharged.
But that's the thing. We don't know what the struggle was about, how it happened.
Well,
we don't know about this altercation.
What we do know about is that this gentleman, Larry Jackson, was unarmed. And what we also know is this detective apparently did not go to the hospital. He did not have any injuries. So how bad could the struggle possibly be to justify shooting this man in the back of his head? It is very suspicious. The police officers are not allowed to shoot someone in the back of their head simply because there is a struggle.
But let's say they're on the ground, they're rolling around on the ground, and the gun goes off, and that's how he gets shot.
Well, if that's the case, it's a much different legal situation. If they are actually going to try to convince the public that this was an accidental discharge, they have a world of problems. Because I think that then suggests that the truth is this was an intentional shooting. And if he intentionally shot this man in the back of his head, this gets into the issue of a criminal act. It is that serious. And so I think the police department needs to start laying the cards on the table about what happened. They know exactly what happened.
But this is very early on in the investigation. I realize there's a family that's very hurt. They've lost someone. But they still have to run through this process. You understand the process as an attorney. We don't have all the facts yet.
Well, I've handled a lot of these shootings, and I will tell you that the leadership command of the Austin Police Department is very intelligent. They know exactly what happened. They can size up this situation in a matter of hours, if not minutes. They do not need 6 months to figure this out. So I would disagree with you on that. I think they should conduct their investigation, but the longer this goes, the more suspicious it becomes. Again, we have a man who was shot in the back of his head while he was unarmed. And I think that's a very high standard for the police department to overcome.
Okay, but you don't think that Austin Police Chief Art Acevedo will take the right action? You, along with many critics, have said that maybe that he doesn't fire people for deadly force. I called APD today, and I want to show you a list of 6 officers, 6 people he has since fired since he's been here for use of deadly force or being involved in some sort of deadly force situation. And here's a list of the officers involved. So do you not think he'll take the proper action if his officer was at fault?
I am not aware of any officer that has been fired for deadly force who has killed someone since Art Acevedo has arrived as police chief. The only officer that was fired was a shooting under the former chief, Stan Nee. That was Sergeant Michael Olson, and Chief Acevedo did fire him.
So where are we getting these names?
On Chief Acevedo's watch, officers that have killed citizens in Austin have not been fired. I cannot see the list. I am not aware of that list. I'm just telling you as a lawyer that has handled many of these cases, I know for a fact he has not fired anyone on his watch that has killed someone.
Well, let me read through some of these names real quick. We're out of time. Sergeant Michael Olson, Officer Wayne Williamson, Officer Johnny Woolridge, Officer Michelle Gish, Officer Jose Aboledo, and Officer Chris Allen. That's coming from APD. This is the list they say since Chief Acevedo has been here. So I guess that's to be decided. But again, this is very early on in the investigation. Time will tell exactly what comes out and how the situation will be handled. What are you hoping to hear for the family?
We'd like to know what the truth is. That my clients are burying their child in 2 days. and there's been no explanation from the police department about why he was shot in the back of the head by a detective. And I think it's very suspicious, and I think the police department knows this is very suspicious, and they are very worried about this case.
Well, we will be waiting for some answers. Attorney Adam Lowy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.